Apexes seem to be a very popular topic as of recently, being frequently discussed on most platforms, a phenomenon that has been happening for a surprisingly long period of time at this point. Also, I would like to thank you guys for my latest video regarding this subject. I appreciate the support and the positive engagement in the comment section. Now, back to what really matters. Just like I mentioned previously, this specific dinosaur tier has to face some unique and difficult problems once it comes out. Problems that are even worse due to the rather controversial way the dev team is planning on implementing them. An extremely common solution being thrown around by many people is the concept of hardlocking the active Apex population on each server, basically limiting their numbers at all times. Some servers like Putin's Petit Pied already do this to the entire roster, and from what I know, they are already preparing on having an even harsher restriction towards Apexes, with both Stego and Dino being the first submitted species to this experimental system. Check out their server, is really good by the way. There's a substantial portion of the community that believes that this is the right solution for the multiple issues Apexes present. But is it really? Is this the optimal way to deal with this problematic tier, or is there more than it meets the eye? Let's find out. Most of us already know to an extent the numerous challenges the game will face once Apexes become live, and in case you're out of the loop, I would suggest to check these two videos first for more details. But to summarize the entire picture, Apex dinosaurs in the Isle are way too powerful to the point that disturbs the overall gameplay balance, and their position in the food chain doesn't come with any attrition or challenge at any point of its growth. And that begs the question, how would limiting their population fix the problem? Dinos like Rex, Giga, Trike and Shand were always vastly popular species, and the reason for that is pretty simple. They are large, powerful, well-known and cool-looking dinosaurs. People know players vastly favor those dinos over others, so the most logical conclusion is that if not everyone can pick them at the same time, then the problem won't exist. I mean, that was done in other games, including some that contain dinosaurs like Primal Carnage and Dino D-Day, so this method does work, right? For those particular games, they do in fact work. However, they are not survival games. They are first and foremost team-based first-person shooters, and the way characters function as well as the game's pacing at large are much different than titles like the Isle. In those games, dinosaurs spawn fully grown instantaneously. They spawn, die and respawn equally as fast, and that time is usually between a couple of seconds to a few minutes. That limitation system works decently well because the downtime is not high. All you need to do is wait a bit until there's a slot available. But the Isle doesn't work that way. The time each person invests on a single dinosaur is a lot higher, hours or even days depending on their survivability skills, and as a result, the downtime between people picking Apexes would be extremely extensive. If the restriction is high enough, it is very plausible that the average player might need to wait days until they are able to pick Apexes, and we are not even counting other aspects that might affect this estimate. They may last even longer with the introduction of the Elder system, people might keep their dinosaur alive indefinitely as a form of griefing, and at the end of the day, this doesn't even fix the issue in the first place. Players know that Apexes are highly picked, hence why so many are in favor of limiting them, but have you wondered what's the real reason they are so frequently picked to begin with? Some might say that it's due to their popularity or because it's their favorite dinosaur, which, let's be honest, Rex is that dino for many people. And even though those reasons do indeed contribute to their pick rate, they are not the main factor. You know what is? I'm gonna answer it with an example. I started playing the Isle back in June 2018, right before the current Allosaurus remodel got introduced into the survival game mode. At that time, the usual Apexes were pretty popular already, but servers still had a somewhat varied roster population. Fast forward to June 2019, a full year later, Apex carnivores, Rex in particular, were overpopulating the majority of most played servers. Notice that I said Apex carnivores. What about Trike? After 12 months worth of patches and balance changes, some dinosaurs were left severely broken on a mechanical level, having unreliable and most non-existent hitboxes, making them absolutely terrible playables, and amongst the most affected were Para and Trike. Triceratops still had more or less the same stats as before, but not only carnies like Rex and Giga got buffed, Trikes got their head hitboxes so messed up that they wouldn't be able to hit their targets over 50% of the time, and while they were still able to defend themselves against most predators, Rex, Giga and especially Spino were utterly impossible to survive against. This led to a quick, sudden and permanently decline of this large herbivore, rapidly vanishing into obscurity with only a couple of brave souls playing them consistently, while their meat-eating counterparts flourished uncontrollably. Now, why am I telling you this? Let's think about it for a second. Trike is very likely the second most famous dinosaur in the entire world. Basically, everyone knows what Trike is, and many paleo enthusiasts love them, myself included. And yet, people stopped playing them right after their unintentional nerf. Not only that, in the meantime, Rex in particular got a speed buff and quickly became not just the most common carnivorous dinosaur, but the most common dinosaur, period. And there's the main reason. People pick them because they are cool, sure, but they are so frequently chosen mostly due to their power, their unrestricted, overbearing and unbalanced power. We need to understand that the masses don't care about the game's health. They don't care if their individual choices or actions impact the isle in a negative way. Like most of us, they just want to play it and they want to have fun while doing so. But dying isn't really that fun now, is it? So as a consequence, the major portion of the community tends towards the most optimal choices, and apexes, especially Rex, are so overtuned that you would be an idiot if you didn't pick them. They are so vastly superior to anything else that it's barely even a choice. That is the true reason why you see Rexes everywhere in Legacy. That is also why Carnos in Evrima were so common before the 6.5 update, because at that time Carnotaurus was the most powerful and optimal carnivorous choice to play. It was the best species you could pick if you wanted to survive for a long period of time and have fun at the same time. Restricting their population won't fix the problem, it will merely contain the symptom, because the real problem is how powerful apexes were before. That is why their numbers were so high. Having fewer on the server can alleviate the pressure a little bit, but the issue is still there. They will be just as powerful as before, just less of them. The frustrating feeling you experienced in Legacy after being killed by OP carnies will continue to happen in Evrima, arguably even more so since they said apexes were going to be even stronger this time. Sure, that will statistically happen less often simply because they are just lesser dinosaurs of that tier that you will have to deal with, but when you do, the issue we had to handle for all these years will still be there, and it will be probably worse this time around. But even though I just presented my arguments as to why limiting their population is not a solution, I still believe servers should do it. Nobody likes having their options restricted for arbitrary reasons. This approach won't solve what lies ahead of us, but unfortunately this is the only thing server owners can do to mitigate the damage without outright disabling the tier altogether. The community doesn't have the tools, at least not yet, to change the dinosaurs in any way. It is up to the developers to do so, but by the looks of it we won't see that for a very long time. So in the end, this may be only a bandage to stop the bleeding, but it is the only thing that we are able to do. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and the content I create. If you want to join the ranks, you can do so for only $1 a month, the link will be in the description. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down below, join our Discord server for memes and pillar nut stuff, and I hope to see you all next week.